After being in our apartment for the last 3 years, we decided it's time to move into our forever home. But before we can do that, we have to sell our current apartment. This is the first apartment that we've ever owned, and hence this is the first time we are ever going through the selling process. It can feel quite overwhelming, and there was so much that goes into selling a home behind the scenes that we didn't expect from the get-go. After meeting with our realtor, they quickly arranged for a professional photographer to come over and take pictures of our home. But before that could happen, we needed to fix up our apartment to get it ready to sell. This involved a lot of projects, such as deep cleaning the apartment, hiding away all of our personal items and most of our decor, emptying our cabinets and closets to declutter them, removing any signs that our pets were there, fixing any broken or outdated parts of the home, and decorating the apartment for potential buyers. I found myself staying up late into the night watching interior design YouTube videos and browsing other apartment listings and home design catalogs for inspiration. Getting the home ready was also quite the investment. We had to utilize both of our storage units with the apartment, and if we had any more belongings, we would have had to invest in an extra storage unit until the house was sold. We also had to invest in quite a few tools. We spent a whole weekend sanding down our porch to make it look as new as possible, and even had to use an industrial saw to cut down planks of wood we had from a past construction project so that we'd be able to dispose of the pieces. I was very fortunate to have already owned most of the decor we used for the staging. It is important to fill the home with plants, pillows, throw blankets, curtains, candles, and more to make the apartment feel lived in and inviting. All in all, the process to do this took a little over a week, and we were scrambling up until the last minute to get the home ready. I think we did a pretty good job for our first ever attempt at staging an apartment to sell, but I'll let you be the judge of that.
All right, so our photographer is coming in just over an hour to take professional photos to list our house for sale, and I wanted to do a quick tour of everything I did to make the home ready for the pictures. Starting with our first room, the office. So this room used to be full of clutter and just paperwork and wires and everything you could imagine, and also a lot of artwork on the walls. So we did remove all of that, and we really tidied up the desk area. We also had a lot of personal knickknacks here in the bookshelf. So I did clear all of those away, and now it's just some very minimal neutral decor in my opinion. So that's really good. And of course, we will be lowering these blinds before the photographer shows up for pictures. I also really cleaned up this area. This used to be full of lots of paperwork and things, and now it's just a little display shelf, so it looks a lot more clean and minimalistic. Now coming into here, I also cleared off a lot of the plants that we had in the windowsills here, and really scrubbed the windowsills, and we will be lowering these blinds before the photographer shows up. I also set the table because we have very nice diningware that I wanted to show off, and I got some fresh flowers from the grocery store. They really recommend that you pick up fresh flowers and plants just to add pops of color into your home, but while still keeping it very neutral. I also cleared off about half the decorations that we had on top of our curio cabinet. I don't think you'll really see inside it too much in the pictures, so I tried to keep the things on the top of the cabinet a bit more neutral and moved my plants around to really spread the plants around the room more evenly. We will, however, be removing anything dog related before they show up, but Dakota, even though she's sleeping, she does need her food and water before the photographer shows up. I moved this plant into the kitchen as well because every kitchen needs some greenery. We really scrubbed these cabinets. I removed all of my magnets from the fridge, and I added some pieces of decoration. Of course, I had to have some lemons. Pretty much every single listing I saw that was a very fancy apartment or house had a bowl of lemons, so I had to follow the trend. We put on display our really nice cutting boards, are trying to show off all of the outlets in the kitchen. I'm displaying my really pretty pot, and I got some fresh basil from the store yesterday just to add a pop of green to everything going on in our kitchen at the moment. I also moved around our coffee machine to hide it in this little nook. No one really likes looking at giant appliances on your countertops, but people do really like their coffee machine, so I thought this would be a good place to have it in the pictures. We also have our living room. We used to have a lot of art on the walls, but we decided to remove it to give it a more minimalistic and neutral feel, and it was just a bit too much color, to be honest. I found this really nice throw blanket, which I think will match everything going on in the room. And I picked up even more fresh flowers from the store yesterday to have a nice bit of greenery in the living room also. I also tidied up our bar cabinet, so just organized the glasses and removed anything excessive from there. And I went over our TV bench and I removed any excess decor from this as well. Now moving into the rest of the house. This is just our little bench nook, so nothing changed here. But if we look into our guest room, this was also one of the easiest rooms to stage. Essentially, I just removed a lot of the excessive artwork we had on the walls. It's still colorful, but we were kind of running out of art to put up at that point. I added a plant in here because every room needs a plant when you're staging. It just makes everything feel a bit more lively. And I added a clock here for a bit more neutral decoration. I also made the bed and found these really bright white duvets that we already had. So I just added it here since the room is already a bit dark in general. And that was kind of it for this room. So this room was one of the easier ones. Then we have our bathroom, of course. I hung up one of my pretty bathrobes as some decoration, and then we really just cleared off all of the counter space to really show that off. I added more fake plants, so a little cactus and a fake hanging plant in here because every room needs a plant, as we discussed. And we really scrubbed every inch of this area, added some nice neutral colored towels for decoration, and they also match our full-size towels in the corner here. Hello! And then looking at the shower, we did remove all of our toiletries. That is really recommended to really show off your shower in general as well. And then moving on to the rest of the house. We have our entryway. So I did move this green plant into this corner. Normally it's not here because there's not enough sunlight for it to survive, but you need some greenery everywhere. There is a bit of junk still in this hallway, so we will be removing this box and these fans and this trash before the photographer shows up, but this is literally the last thing we have to do. Other than that, we really just tidied it up. I got rid of all of the shoes that are normally sitting here. I cleaned up this shelving unit in the corner just so we have a key bowl, some sunglasses, and another fake plant. Cleaned up the mirror. Hello. I hung this on here for decoration. Normally we have all of our jackets here, but I thought that was a bit excessive. This is a lot prettier. And another fake plant as well. We used to have a lot of boxes up on top of our wardrobe, but those were also removed. And if I show you in here, this is nothing really. This is just our storage inside our house. So we washed up the freezer a little bit. So we really just wiped that down. And I tried to clear off the workshop bench, but to be honest, it's always going to be messy in here. So there's really not much you can do. And we really tried to clear off the floor because this is normally just covered in lots of tools and recycling, stuff like that. So it does look messy, but it is a million times better than it used to be. And really, storage units aren't meant to look super pretty. So I think we're just working with what we got. So here is the master bedroom. First things first, I just made our bed really nice. I found some matching dark colored duvets and a bunch of pillows that I think match the vibe and this nice throw blanket, and it really all came together. I cleared off both of our nightstands. The other one is empty, but this one I decided to just have another cute little fake plant there. And we did look at our closets and removed about half of the clothing that was in it. I know it doesn't look like we did, but trust me, it was a lot worse before I went in and cleaned it up. Then over here, I also cleared off the surfaces of our dressers. Normally we have speakers on here and a lot of cords and plugs and clocks and things. So I just cleared that off and left some more decor. So just a book and then a little mirror unit. And normally we would have Dakota's bed and giant crate here. So we did have to remove that and take that down to the basement as well. And we've opened up all of the windows and the door to get a lot of natural light in here. So let's take a look outside. So this is outside. I've really staged it up with all of our nice outdoor furniture pillows, and I even brought out a pillow and an extra blanket. And I set it up so it looks like you're having Prosecco and strawberries. Very nice. And I went and I bought this new flower from the grocery store yesterday just to add a bit more color. Also had a bunch of junk out here before, so we cleared all of that away and took it to the recycling center. I put our pizza oven on display. Really nice. Brought another one of our indoor plants outside just for a bit more greenery. There's Dakota. We cleaned up our grill. And then lastly, I staged our main outdoor dining area with some breakfast bread and a coffee. And then I also found all of these sheepskins and just other patterned blankets to put out here with all of the pillows. And I got some candles yesterday for our outdoor candle units. So yeah, that is kind of everything. Hello, Dakota. All in all, I think we did a really good job with staging the home. It did take a really long time. We had to take tons of stuff into our storage unit and really just do deep cleans for the entire week, and then spent all day yesterday just decorating and staging the area. But I think it turned out really nice. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how the professional photos go.